Recorded Books presents Mind Your Mindset. The science that shows success starts with your thinking, by Michael Hyatt and Megan Hyatt Miller. Narrated by the authors.
To Eileen Meething and Arleta James. Chapter 1. The Brain That Tells Itself Stories. When my husband Joel and I decided in 2011 to expand our family through adoption, our dreams outpaced our preparation. We had almost no idea what we were signing up for. I'd been to Uganda years before and felt drawn to adopt from that country. The process took a while, but we were matched with two amazing boys, a 3-year-old, Moses, and a 1-year-old, Jonah. 2 months before we were supposed to bring them home, we heard that Jonah was in the hospital with malaria. Joel and I were at the movie theater when the message came through from the baby's home director. My mama bear came out immediately. We left the theater a few minutes later and began changing our travel plans. I never did see the end of that movie. I flew out the very next day. Thank God, everything turned out okay with Jonah. We had a friend living in Uganda who was a nurse, and she was able to help out until I arrived. But malaria was only the beginning. I'll stop there to let the boys tell their own story. For now, it's enough to say that complex early life trauma leaves a mark. Not gonna lie, things were really challenging with the kids in country. And contrary to our expectations, it only got harder when we got home. We had behavioral problems we could scarcely understand. We started by trying what we already knew as parents. And let me just say, that didn't work so great. Some adoptive parents reading this know exactly what I'm talking about. It wasn't long before we were running out of solutions and the challenges were ramping up. I don't think we can do this, I told Joel one evening in tears. This isn't working. I felt stuck on a desolate road, stranded somewhere between discouragement and despair. We weren't giving up. No way that was happening. But we also had no idea how to move forward. My dad always says that resources tend to show up when you're ready for them, but usually not before. And sure enough, within days of that perfectly timed breakdown, I heard about Karen Purvis, a researcher and developmental psychologist who had co-created trust-based relational intervention, TBRI. I also found out she was speaking that week to a group of social workers, and the venue was close enough for us to attend. My mom stepped up to watch the boys overnight, and Joel and I headed to the conference. We didn't know what to expect. I remember feeling uneasy on the drive from Nashville to Knoxville, like I was actively trying to restrain my hopes. It didn't feel safe to hope. I just knew we needed help. By then, we'd long since blown past the limits of our own best thinking. We walked into the convention room with nothing but notebooks, pens, and hope against hope we'd finally get some answers. And we did. Everything we heard was new to us, and a massive relief. Dr. Purvis described situations in children that sounded just like our own. We learned that pretty much everything we'd been trying so far was bound to fail. And she had years' worth of research and direct experience to explain why. Kids from hard places, as Dr. Purvis called them, need another approach. There were several reasons, but one was so simple that it all clicked the minute she said it: the brain. The brain is the key. During healthy, normal development, a child learns to successfully live and adapt in the dynamic world of interpersonal relationships and environmental change. All that learning is wired in the brain through countless neural pathways and patterns, which constitute the child's repertoire of skills and abilities. But experiences can be both formative and deformative. Trauma disrupts helpful neural patterns and creates unhelpful ones. Those disruptions produce counterproductive coping strategies and behaviors. Suddenly, you're getting calls from preschool principals and household items are in pieces, along with your expectations for a life presentable enough for Instagram. If you can't figure out how to adequately relate to people in changing circumstances, which
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.